Hello, everybody. Just wanted to post kind of hopefully a shorter vlog than usual, though maybe not. Maybe it'll get to be um kind of not so short, depending on how much I decide to share and all that. Um, so here's a bit of good news. Bit of bad news. I'm having a bit of trouble filing my American taxes for the year. Um, Due to the fact that when I went to file, um, went in, did my normal thing, did which way do you want to do it? Do you want to just fill out forms? Do you want to go with software or whatever? And no matter what I picked, they were like, you need an American phone number. Problem is, I don't have an American phone number. I have one phone that currently has only a British phone number on it. So not entirely sure how that's supposed to work, but also the other thing is I only have one W-2 to put in, and it is less than $100. So I'm not even sure it would be worth it. The only thing I'm worried about is if it would affect my visa. Even though everything's already set up, I'm just worried that me not filing US taxes would affect that. And like I tried to do some research on it, haven't found out a whole lot. And so I'm kind of almost wondering if there's somebody over here, like if there's a business over here that deals with people coming from the US and needing to file taxes, if I can talk to them. So I'm probably going to do some research on that a little bit later, but in the meantime, I did find out that I do have a natural extension. I don't have to worry about filing my taxes before tomorrow because apparently I have until June since I am living overseas, which is nice because hopefully that'll give me time to worry about the situation. And if it's just a matter of I need an American phone number, maybe I can get one of my friends or one of my parents, although I'm really not looking forward to telling my parents because they seem to get disappointed with me on stuff like that, even though it's not anything that I can do. Um, but yeah, so that's what I'm currently trying to figure out, like how to get around this and how to, like if I can use like another person's phone number who lives in the US, but then the other problem is over here we're 6 hours ahead of at least where I lived before, which is Iowa. So I'm not sure. Like, I've got an email into a friend of mine, but the problem is she doesn't have a computer at her home, and so she has to go to the library, and she hasn't been in like a while. So I'm kind of worried about her in the one sense, And in the other sense, it's kind of like, oh, because I haven't heard from her since mid-month last month. And which is partly my fault because totally forgot to check my email and see if she was in there and all that. So, but I'm also assuming that she may just be really, really busy, because where she works in South Carolina, can get very, very busy, and I know she works a lot of overtime type shifts and stuff, so I have to be patient. But then at the same time, I'm also thinking I should probably get a backup phone number in case that's all I need. But then, like I said, there's a difference between time, and so I have to be ready to, because it's one of those things where you need an American phone number, and then they send a code to verify that you're the person who they say you are, which doesn't make any sense if it's not my phone number. But, I don't know. Maybe there's something else I can research. Maybe there's a different way of working through that. But right now, that's what I've got. So it's kind of a matter of can I do that? And like, part of me is just like I read somewhere online that, oh, it's no big deal. They just need the phone number for this purpose, but they don't keep track of whose number it is, and it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense then. Why would they require an American phone number if they don't keep track of whose number it is? But yeah. So anyway, I'm kind of putting a hold on the tax stuff for right now. Um, So there's that. But on the positive side, um, my husband Keith has um he likes to browse Reddit occasionally, and so do I, even though I don't do it as much as I used to. But I like Reddit because there's different, like Exter has a Reddit, has a Reddit subcategory, and like Scarlet Hollow has a Reddit, and so it's like if you want to just go on to Reddit and read stuff for just one specific category, you can do that. Um, but the cool thing is that Keith has found that there is that on the Reddit for Exeter, which is where we now live, which is where we live, um, there is a writing group that meets up just right down the road from us, um, and at a little restaurant, bar, pub, whatever it is. And yeah, so it's kind of cool. He was just browsing it the other day and he sent me a link, and they apparently are selling tickets, which number one, the tickets are free, which is awesome. And number two, it's apparently just like writing group. Um, but they meet not this coming Wednesday, but next week's Wednesday. They meet from 6:30 to 9:30, and I'm gonna go. And it's kind of fun. I haven't been a part of a running group in ages. I used to um I at least wanted to be a part of one. I might have been a part of one just briefly, but that was like years ago. But yeah, I've always thought it would be fun to be a part of a writing group and you know, and stuff. So, and I'm supposed to bring something that I've been working on. So my decision is start an original work or bring one of my fan fictions. Um, but if I do that, then that means that this week I need to work on said fan fiction, so I have something new to share and show up. And then also I have to decide, do I want to do it on the laptop and print it out, or do I want to use me have pickup, or do I want to write it down in one of my notebooks and take the notebook with me? So, and it's my first time doing something like this, so I'm kind of like, I'm not sure, but we're meeting at some kind of place where we can have like drinks and snacks and stuff. So, yeah, maybe Keith to deposit a little money into my account so that I can participate in the drinks and snacks. Um, but yeah, so that's good. So we've got a positive and a bit of a negative or a bit of something to work through. There's always something to work through. It's funny. It's like I can go, like, it's getting longer in between stuff I need to work through. And like once I get the taxes thing sorted, I can get it done and then I won't have to worry about it till next year. But in the meantime, it's just like, come on. But yeah, so anyway, I'm just really, really hoping that it goes well and I get a chance to meet some people. Because, like I run into people and I've talked to people and stuff, but it's not like an ongoing friendship. It's more of a meet in the moment and then we go on and do our own thing. And there's not really hey, let's just change numbers, or hey, you want to get together and get coffee or something, or whatever. And so I'm just kind of like, so this will be kind of fun. And they meet like every so often. And I don't know if it's at the same place every time or if it's at different places, but either way it'll be kind of fun. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Um, and also this coming Saturday we should be back in with game night, and I'm assuming Dungeons and Dragons. We've had it off the last 2 weekends, 2 Saturdays, because Ash and Nikki, whose house we normally meet at, um, they've had Easter time off, and so they've gone up to spend time with Nikki's family. She has mom, dad, I think, and like aunts, uncles, that kind of thing that live up in some other part of Devon. And so, yeah, so they're out of town, so we can't really go do anything, um, which is fine. But then that would be nice too to have the writing group and, you know, like I said, a chance to meet and actually maybe form friendships with some other people. And apparently it's people of all ages. Like I've seen, they posted one picture as part of their event, and it's like people from like elderly, older people to like people younger than me and stuff. So that ought to be fun. So yeah, I'm just really excited. Oh, and the other really exciting positive thing that happened recently is I finally went on to Steam, and bought myself two games. I was having a hard time deciding between them. I almost got Oxenfree 2, which is the sequel to Oxenfree 1, which I have, which I've yet to play on the channel for you guys. Um, so I was kind of tempted to buy that one because, like I said, it was a sequel, and apparently, spoilers ahead. If you don't want to know, fast forward just a minute or two. But apparently, Alex and her friends, let me see if I remember, Ren, Nona, Clarissa, and Jonas. Also, possibly Michael, if you play the role where Michael gets sucked into that timeline. Still not entirely sure how that works, but I do plan on playing Oxenfree for you guys at some point. But it is kind of a sad game, at least in my opinion. It's kind of more of a, like I like it because it's very choices matter, and it's like you can try different things. You can be rude to people, or you can be really nice and polite and all that, and well, as polite as you can be, and all that. And it's a big mystery, but apparently Alex and her friends and family, and her stepbrother get the chance to come back at the end of Oxenfree 2, but one of the three people you have the chance to play as in the second game have to take everybody's place. Still not entirely sure how that works, but I may end up getting it in the future, maybe. But as for now, I went for two games, and they were both on sale actually. Um, One is called Gone Home. It's a older game. Jacksepticeye has played it. I don't know anybody else who has played it, but I'm sure there are people. Like, I'm sure Markiplier's played it, PewDiePie, whatever, you know, whoever your favorite gameplay person was back in the day, I'm sure they played it. But yeah, so Gone Home, which it's interesting because it's kind of spooky, but it's spooky in the sense of, and again, spoilers, if you don't want me to spoil the game for you, skip ahead a little bit, probably about 5 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that. Anyway, but so the basic premise of the story is your name is Katie, You play as Katie, who is the older daughter of a family of two girls and a mom and dad. And it's set in like 1995, I think, something like that, in the 90s. And so it's like right on the edge of, technology advancing, but still being very limited. Like one of the things that you do is you go around the house and you collect like little, well, I imagine you don't get to see what they are, but they kind of remind me of the old cassette tapes that you put into a boombox or whatever, or a tape player. And you get like journal entries from your sister, whose name is Sam. Full name Samantha, but she goes by Sam. And I've already kind of been spoiled on the ending, but I also am not looking at very much about it, only because I kind of want to try and figure it out for my own. But yeah, so basically you've been in Europe, for a while, and so you come home, you get dropped off, and nobody's in the house. Like the house is empty, and you arrive right before a big storm hits. So you're wandering through this house that is mostly dark, except for a couple times where you walk into a room and there's a light on that shouldn't be on. Or like one time, right before I stopped playing yesterday, you walk into this one room and there's a TV going. And it's basically on like a storm relay, but what's weird is before you get into that room, before you even know there's a room like that, you hear a voice talking to you. And yeah, you're alone in the house. Well, and you don't know this for a while, but like you're wandering through the house looking for people, and it's basically kind of like a detective game, but not like an official, you're not like solving a crime or anything like that. It's more like, I just got home. My family should know I'm here. Where is everybody? Nobody greets you at the front door. And then you find a note on the front door from your sisters that says something to the effect of don't try to find me. We'll meet up again sometime soon, but right now, don't tell anybody anything. And so, like, she put that note up on the door for you because she knew you were coming home. And, like, I just find that really interesting. And, like, you go through, and it's kind of like the old point and click adventure games. Kind of reminds me of the Nancy Drew games a little bit because, like you pick up items, like you'll pick up a power bank, or you'll pick up a cell phone and be able to look through it, or, well, no cell phones because it's in the 90s, so there weren't very many cell phones back then, at least not to the effect that there are now. But like, and you go through this room and there's like a record player, and then you find out by reading other things that your dad was given the record player because he's got a job um writing like reviews for like certain things. And he's just, I don't want to spoil it, but you like go through the house and you look at things and you can pick up items, turn them around and stuff like that. Yeah, find codes, enter them into other things, pull them out, read what's in there, or that kind of thing. And but yeah, so the last room the player character entered, the person I was playing entered, um, is like a family room, living room, rec room kind of thing. And so you go in and you're like, oh, and the other thing, this house is completely brand new because the family apparently inherited the house from their uncle. I'm assuming the uncle of the girls, but I could be wrong about that. I'm not entirely sure yet. But yeah, so you come across things like watering, electricity checking kind of things, you know. Are we checking to make sure the electricity in the house is safe? And like the dad mentions some weird stuff he's found in the house, and I'm assuming that'll lead into weird things with the uncle and all that. But yeah, you go into the brand new house, no one else is there, and you have to piece together the story of what happened. Like I've already figured out that the father, um, wrote like one book that sold pretty well, and he has tried a couple times to write a sequel to that. And like the second book didn't do half as well the first book did. And then he was trying to write the next sequel and was getting literally no bites from publishers or anything like that. And so, yeah. And then the other interesting thing that I found out was, you have the chance of coming across an old, an, an assignment because keep in mind your sister Sam started at new school and the house that you live in already has a reputation as the psycho house, which not entirely sure what that means, but she's made like one friend, who another girl, and got a chance to come over to the house and everything. And it's kind of fun. It has all the old 90s stuff like going to play on an arcade that's inside a 7-Eleven, which is a convenience store we have in America in some places. Not as frequent as there used to be, but I do remember 7-Eleven being like right across, not right across the street, but down the road from where we lived when we lived within walking distance of school and everything. When I went to high school, when I went to New England Christian. Um, but yeah, so you basically just go through, find little clues, tidbits as to what exactly is going on. And I think it's one of those kind of things where you have to go through the whole house in order to get to the whole story. And so I'm just really curious. And like there are some doors that are locked, but you've got to either go another route or to get in another door, or you have to find the key and unlock the door. And it's kind of the old-fashioned thing where like the key to the outside door is in like a little cupboard on the front porch, kind of hidden under a ceramic figurine and stuff, and kind of reminds me of when I was a kid, and it was like mom and dad would be like, okay, we're gonna be at work until blah blah blah. You're old enough to stay home by yourself. You know where the key is. Make sure you lock the door if you go outside or whatever, and put the key in its hiding place. I remember hiding a house key under a rock because we used to have the rock garden, the plants right up by the house, and then there'd be rocks covering the dirt and stuff, and you'd just be like, keep rock, boop. And then you just had to remember which rock it was. So, yeah, it was very different back in the 80s and the 70s. I mean, there was a lot of, you know, kids were a lot more expected to take care of themselves for the most part. Although there were a lot of things you could still do as a kid, but it was a lot of times without direct adult supervision. So, but we got that game, which I've started playing, and I'm currently stuck on. May have to look up. I'm looking for a code for the filing cabinet that's in one of the dad's rooms, and so it's kind of like, oh, okay. So, it's kind of, and they don't really give you any clue. It's not a hand-holdy game at all. Like, you don't. Yeah, matter of fact, there's been a couple times I've almost gotten lost because, you go into this house and almost all the lights are off except for a couple that are on that were left on, like, which almost makes it seem like something happened to cause everyone to leave the house. And I'm still trying to figure out why there's nobody home. But so, yeah, so there's that game. And then I also downloaded, Chef RPG, which is an early access game that you can play on the Mac. And that game is, um, kind of like Stardew Valley, but whereas in Stardew Valley, you inherit your grandfather's old farm, in Chef RPG, you, uh, I believe you've gone to school to learn how to cook, to learn how to be a chef, and so you're moving to this smallish town. Um, but the interesting thing about that game is there are androids in this game. So it kind of reminds me of what's that movie? I've never seen it, but it's the one with androids and Harrison Ford played the lead role first. Blade Runner? Is that what I'm thinking of? I don't remember for sure. Like I said, I've never seen the movie. All I know is that the movie has androids in it, and that's like a key part of the story. Is you have to figure out who's an android and who's not an android, and you have to figure out if the main character is an android or not. But yeah, so it's kind of funny. Like you get off of the train, and um, you the first person you meet is an android with like pink hair, and she's like, "Oh, I'll show you around." She takes you around, and she gives you your first couple quests, and you have her as your first customer. Like you walk into the restaurant, and of course it's not bad, but you definitely need to improve more and hire staff and everything. So it's like a game management game where you have to figure out how to get customers and how to improve your food, and you can go out hunting or foraging or whatever, or you can buy your products from people in town. And yeah, it's cute, and it's even got a place where you can fish, or you can buy fish and all that kind of stuff. So I started playing that game too, and it's kind of fun. I mean, it's definitely different than Stardew Valley. It's kind of a bit disappointing because I would really like to find a game that has to do with like living in a magic world. But ooh, and that does remind me, if I could figure out how to get this bad boy um connected to my computer, I might play this for you. Um, well, two things. I've started replaying the game that I got a while back that I hadn't been playing a whole lot of, called Wildflowers. It's about a girl who moves to a new town and then discovers that she, her grandma, and probably her dad were witches. And so it's also kind of a time management because you're got a little garden you're working on. You get to go through the mines. You go through. It's kind of more little kiddish in my opinion. Like it's definitely not at least not so far. There haven't been any enemies in the mines. There's nobody or nothing to fight. It is very LGBTQ plus centric. I believe there's characters in there who are gay, bi, trans, maybe. I'm not entirely sure, but good representation and all that. And of course, then you have to, like, you do all your other stuff during the day. You do like your farming, your shopping, your meeting people, you're getting to know people during the day. And then at night you go out to this one location and you do witchy stuff with about four other people plus your grandma. And yeah, so that's really interesting. But then the other very exciting thing is there is a game. I first found out on Steam, but I found out that it's coming to the Switch. sometime this year, probably in winter time, called Witchburg. And it is one of those games where they have a magic school, they have a town where you can go and do things in, they have friends you can make, I'm assuming romance options, that kind of thing. So I'm really excited for that game to come out, but supposedly it won't come out until like winter this year. So that's exciting. But yeah, so I got two new games to play. Not sure when I'm gonna be posting either of those to the channel as of right now. But yeah, if you guys want to, if you guys have an opinion, let me know in the comments if you want Gone Home or Chef RPG. 'Cause like I said, they're different. You know, one's more of an exploration, mystery type game, and one is a kind of like Stardew Valley, but running a restaurant instead of running a farm. So let me know what you would like me to do. Also, if you guys have any opinions, let me know what I should upload next. Because I'm kind of debating on to continue with the new playthrough of Scarlet Hollow or continuing with the playthrough of Night in the Woods. So let me know which one sounds better to you guys, and I'll think on it, and I'll let you guys know. But yeah, I'm also thinking probably sometime this week I'll upload a gameplay video. Like I said, don't know what it'll be yet. Might even be something completely new. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. Can't believe it's only Monday. Feels like it should be later in the week for some reason. But yeah. So I'm gonna log off. Um, Keith and I had a very nice, relaxing weekend, but it was very messy, and I need to do some cleaning up around here while he's off of work. So but yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on in my life. Um, let me know what's been going on with you guys if you feel like it. Let me know what you've been up to, anything new, exciting going on in your lives. Um, Otherwise, I will talk to you later.